Sound now. Can you hear me? There has been an awakening. Have you felt it? Low? Low? Damn it. Damn it. Alright. Why is this thing not cooperating? Okay. We good? Audio good now, guys? This is like last minute. That's why I'm not ready. Damn it. I gotta schedule these a lot better. Alright, fix yourself. Okay. Wait, what's going on? What the heck is going on with my video? Oh, there we go. Trash. All right, why is it not? There we go. No, 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 don't do that. All right, all right. Where is my... Oh, I can't see the chat in this thing? Well, that's a waste of time. Why can't it show me the chat? All right, let me just use my phone. Hi. What the hell? All right. Let's... Wait, what are you doing? This thing is just... Like, I don't understand. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, okay, we don't need that.
All right, so everything is good, right, folks? Just one more confirmation of my unorganized ass. Audio, good. All right, cool. Video, good. All right. I need to get me a sip. All right, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Like I said, this is an impromptu live stream. I just felt like I haven't done one in a long time, and I want to do one like every week, and hopefully it'll work out better now that I'm in my gaming cell. So, so yeah, let's get this started. I'm probably gonna do a what do you call it, like a room tour, but really it's not that big in here. But it's perfect for what I do, gaming wise and all that stuff. So, like I said, I'm very unorganized right now. So let me look at my topics because I already forgot them. All right, first topic is E3, right? So E3 excitement, where I am, where you guys are. What's up, everybody? What's up, Juice? What's up, Falcon Black? What's up, Boom Tendo? Real Gamer. Damn, I haven't seen you in a while, man. What's up? Trizzy Nah. Kelly, what's that? Call me Chemo. Who else is in here? I said Falcon Black already. Cool. Unforgiven, what's up? TJ, he's stealing your idea of weekly live stream. No, I mean, obviously that's a joke, but I wanted to do this for a while, but it's just like, my schedule is kind of all over the place, so it's hard to schedule these things. So, but it's also a topic, so let's get into it. So yeah, E3 excitement. I feel like I should be more excited than I am right now. Obviously we have a lot of stuff to go over when it comes to Nintendo, like what they're gonna be showing and stuff. They're dropping a lot of games. I wish their scheduling wasn't so kind of non-intuitive, because it's like they talk about all these games that are going to come out like basically the year before. So in 2018, we knew from directs and whatnot, we're going to get all these games, and we're like, oh man, it's going to be a banger every month. And that hasn't happened. And we kind of expecting that the last couple of years, but they kind of squeeze everything at the end of the year, which sucks, because you want to have time to play everything that comes out that you are looking forward to. And there are a lot of games that I'm looking forward to coming out. Fire Emblem Three Houses, Mario Maker 2, obviously, Astral Chain, a game that everybody seems to forget about, Daemon X Machina. These are all games I'm looking forward to getting, and it's like there's not enough months to have these games get their own month to breathe in. So, and that's not even counting what third party or whatever may bring, because you got Doom, you got Wolfenstein. I don't know if that's this year or not, but Doom's supposed to be this year if I'm not mistaken. So there's all that stuff. So it's just like, I wish they would start early in the year. I don't know if they just don't have confidence with the early months. I don't know why, because games do still sell early. Maybe you might want to avoid January, but February on, you should be okay with releasing games. So I hope they figure that out. But yeah, like, I feel like I'm not as excited as I should be, especially knowing that all the stuff we got coming. I don't know, something's missing. Maybe it's Sony. No, it's not Sony. But yeah, something's off about this year. It's just kind of a weird year. But I'm actually more excited for the stuff that I feel like is gonna be announced, or it is at least going to be talked about sometime around E3 or thereafter. So I kind of mostly want to talk about that. My basically, I guess it would be my predictions because there's no hard evidence that the stuff is coming. So I guess we could talk about the things that that aren't concrete, that I'm excited to hear about, that I'm hoping to hear about. One I actually did a video on, which is Banjo Kazooie in some form or another being shown up. Like I said, Grant Kirkhope, the composer of those games and many other Rare games, and he did ukulele too, I think. He put out this tweet that made it seem like you should look forward to E3 for something Banjo related, and then after that he started to kind of walk it back. But I kind of feel like a lot of times people put something out there that they're feeling good about at the moment, and they just kind of walk back and like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said it. Let me try to fix it. And I felt like he was trying to fix it in his later tweets, that stuff wasn't happening. And he always does these little dots, like after his after whatever his tweet is, or in somewhere in the tweet, and it just seems like it's a hint. Like, I don't know, it just seems that way. But anyway, I'm expecting, or not expecting, but I'm hoping that we get Banjo and Smash. I've always said for a long time that I'd love to see Banjo and Smash, because he would have a pretty cool moveset with him and Kazooie, not unlike Duck Hunt, Duck Hunt Duo. So where the hell? I think that's a tweet for my live stream. So not unlike Duck Hunt Duo, he would have pretty cool moveset. And he's not like a fighter, so you come up with something pretty creative. I'm sure Sakurai likes to do those types of characters more. Characters that aren't actually fighters, that may fight in the game but aren't fighters per se, and just give him some cool moves. So so Jinjo or Mega Jinjo, Final Smash for the win. I think it would be a lot of cool things you could do with him, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see him or Master Chief. Like, people talk about Master Chief. You could probably just kind of clone him, make him clone of Snake in many ways. I wouldn't have a problem with Master Chief being in Smash. I know some people probably would, but I wouldn't. Rayman is another one. He'd probably be harder to pull off because he doesn't have any limbs, but I'm sure they could figure it out. So Rayman would be another character I would like to see. I'm over the animosity or the anger that a lot of Nintendo fans had. We had during the Wii U with the whole Rayman Legends debacle. So I've kind of moved on. Ubisoft has always been a strong supporter of Nintendo, going way back to N64, Super Nintendo, maybe not Super Nintendo, but N64, and GameCube, Wii. They've always kind of been there. And so, they tripped up a little bit on the Wii U, but a lot of people did. And they gave us a great, fantastic game early in the Switch's life cycle, and that is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is awesome. I'd love to see a sequel to that, or announcement for a sequel to that. That's something I'm looking forward to. So hopefully that happens. That would be something that's exciting, that's somewhat unexpected. And I hope that in the future they work on Star Fox, because I love Starlink, and I think some of what Starlink is doing is a good direction for Star Fox. Not all of it, but some of what they're doing is a good direction. I'm getting tweets like crazy now. I think it has to do with the announcement trailer for the Dark Crystal, which looks awesome. Maybe I'll talk about that at the end, movie stuff, but TV stuff. But yeah, like, that's the kind of stuff. And we, with the gaming world we live in, we go back and forth, and we get new news, and we forget about the news we just got and all this stuff. And this wasn't really news, but it was another one of those kind of hints. And it was, remember Reggie retired, there was that picture that Retro Studios drew for him, and it was on his desk. and there was a character that was blocked off basically by his Mario what do you call it? That wasn't a trophy, but it was like a lot of Nintendo people, probably most Nintendo people, get that little statue. It was a Mario statue that big people in Nintendo get, and it was conveniently blocking this character. You could see like a metal robotic hand, some kind of visor thing going on. It was right under Samus's character, and it was just perfectly, not perfectly, but it was blocked off enough to where you'd be intrigued by what that was, because all the other characters we know about that Retro Studios has done or Nintendo has done, and we know about those characters, but this little character in the corner didn't look like anything we knew, and it was blocked off, and it was, rare. Look at me, rare. Retro hasn't been sitting around doing nothing for 4 years. They may have been kind of feeling out what they want to do, because they remember early in the GameCube life cycle they had issues with like focusing down and making the games up to Nintendo's standards, because they had like Car Combat, they had Raven Blade, and they were working on Metroid. I feel like there was another game, maybe it was a football game or something they were working on, and Nintendo cut all those other projects out and told focus on Metroid Prime, and obviously that was fantastic. So they have the capacity to be working on something, and Nintendo likes, to a degree, they like the organic game design. I was just watching something on what was it? Link's Awakening. I was watching a video on Link's Awakening, the history of it, and how that came about. It was just like I can't remember who it was, but I know Koizumi had something to do with the making that game as well. But it was just one of the people at Nintendo, one of the higher up designers at Nintendo. I can't remember his name. I can see his face. I can't remember his name. He decided, I'm just gonna, mess around, trying to make on his own. He wasn't asked to do this. I'm gonna build a Legend of Zelda for the Game Boy, and it was just his own idea. And then like other people would walk by and see it. It was like, oh, that's great. What are you working on there? And then they got this little group together basically because of that, and they put that, started putting ideas together. And one of the ideas, Nintendo was just like, well, let's port. At first, they were like, let's just port A Link to the Past to the Game Boy, and these guys didn't want to do that. And once they were showing what they were doing, that's why Link's Awakening is a very different type of Zelda game. There's tropes that came from that game that they still use in Zelda games today, which is cool. But that's why you got like Mario characters and stuff like that in the game, with just weird different mechanics that Zelda hadn't done before at that time, because it was organically developed. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna make this game, we're gonna have the story. They had none of that. They just organically came up with the idea. I think I can't remember the designer. I'm going crazy. Anybody know who it was? Let me see. He was a fan of Twin Peaks, and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense because of that kind of dreamlike nature of the show Twin Peaks. That's why you had the dreamlike situation in Link's Awakening. So it made a whole lot of sense. So yeah, before we go any further, let me see what you guys are talking about here in the chat. Everybody's like, what's up? Terminator Juice T, I'm using the rubber tip stylus on my Wii U to see how it will feel in Mario Maker 2 on Switch. How does it work on Wii U? Because the screens are very different. One's capacitive, one's a multi-touch. And I don't know if it'll work as well as it would. I haven't tried it. That's a good thing. I should have tried that. I don't know if it'll work as well. My money is on Pikmin 4 this autumn. Falcon Black says Pikmin 4. Yeah, that's still a possibility. The game should have been done for some time, if it exists, because there could be some, thing with that where it was, hey, Pikmin was Pikmin, what people believe was Pikmin 4. So we'll see. Trizzy, now I'm hyped for Nintendo showing, but all in all, this seems a weird E3, like has a weird vibe around it. Yeah. So it's not just me. Falcon Black. Ooh, rubber tip. Real gamer. I have so many backlog of games. I feel that they overcrowd these games in a month. Yeah, that's another thing. I'm going to talk about that too. You can see some games stacked here that I've been kind of working on the backlog, or I actually went through games again, which I shouldn't be doing. I should be working on backlog, but that's something I'm doing as well. Figueroa. I'm trying to keep my expectations low this year. Hopefully, Nintendo will pull off a crazy E3 with some new announcements or new info on games. Agreed. Quest 64 HD. This is called me Kima. No, that's a joke, obviously, because that game is not good. Famicom Mike. I think Microsoft and Nintendo will announce something together since Sony isn't there this year. Yeah, that's basically the rumor. People believe that's going to happen. I'd be totally cool with that. Banjo, like I said. When is Streets of Rage 4 coming out? I forget, Real Gamer. Obviously, it is this year, but I forget when it's coming out. Grant Kirkhope gives out good hints. He did that with Ukulele and Mario plus Rabbids. Exactly, Mr. Figueroa. That's exactly what I meant. He drops these hints, and then I guess somebody says, hey, you shouldn't have said that, and so he kind of walks it back. And I feel like there will be some Banjo talk or something with Banjo related at E3. Star Fox is on life support right now. Yes, it is. We need a new Star Fox game after the dumpster fire that was Zero. I want to agree that it was a dumpster fire. Obviously, it had a learning curve with the controls. But my biggest problem with it is that it was, again, a retread of Star Fox 64, which I love, but Star Fox needs to move on from Star Fox 64 as much as I love it. So I need hope Nintendo will revive an old franchise like F-Zero, 1080, Golden Sun. Yes, we all want these things. I don't even want to bring it up because I feel like a broken record every year. We hope and hope and hope and nothing. So one thing I want for this E3 is for Liam Robertson to keep his trap shut after E3 and not spoil Nintendo's E3 before it happens like last year. I agree. I hate that stuff. Terminator, it works well so far on the Wii U. I have no more worries about using a stylus on the Switch from Mario Maker 2. Cool. I wasn't sure how it works, but it's like butter. It's smooth. It works really well on a Switch. So I'm going now. See you. Oh, are you leaving? Susie Mia. Okay. Well, like I said, I was talking about all the stuff that we expect or we know is coming, basically. I don't know how much time they're going to spend on that. They probably will spend some good time. Like Astro Chain definitely needs more talk. I'm sure it'll get a direct as well. But it would be nice to see that at E3, maybe with some gameplay at the treehouse and stuff. So that'd be cool. Fire Emblem. I don't think I want to see much more of Fire Emblem because mostly what's left is story stuff, and I don't want any story stuff. I want to discover that on my own. And I don't know if they're going to show Sword and Shield. I don't care. As time goes on, I care less and less. When I look at especially like Yokai Watch 4, which looks fantastic visually, and Town has a nice, beautiful art style, and like I was going to pick up Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and if I should have bought it right away because the more time went by, the less and less I cared for it because it's very generic looking. And my excitement died with that. And then so I was hoping that once Sword and Shield was announced, which I wasn't initially overly down on, but the more and more I watched it, I'm like, and compare it to other games like Yokai Watch 4. Visually, like I said, that has some visual pizzazz, while this franchise continues to not do much beyond its roots. That drives me crazy. And again, people, everything can't be Breath of the Wild, and no, it doesn't have to be Breath of the Wild. But if Yokai Watch can look really good and have some flair, a new franchise or one of the newer franchises anyway, why can't Pokemon at this point that makes a gazillion dollars a year. There's just no excuse. It's very much like there's no excuse for Mario Maker 2 not having your ability to play with your friends. And I've seen just the weirdest, craziest defenses and all this stuff about this game not having the ability for you to play with, with your friends. It's just randoms only. This is a Mario game, and I can't play co-op with my friends online. I mean, people, here are some of the excuses. Well, Mario Maker 1 didn't have online multiplayer co-op or whatnot. Yeah, but Mario Maker 2 does. That's almost like saying, well, hey, Super Smash Bros. Melee wasn't online. It could have been. It totally could have been. That was the era of everybody basically getting online and taking it serious, except for Nintendo. But Smash Melee could have been online, but it wasn't. So, why care about, Smash Brawl or Wii U or Ultimate having online multiplayer? Hey, if that's the rules you're going to make, I mean, that's pretty weak. That's just a defense at that point. Because everything evolves. And I say evolve. It's just so funny with a game like Pokemon, which one of the core mechanics of the game is your Pokemon evolving, yet Game Freak fails to want to evolve with this franchise. And it's just, I'd rather play Yokai Watch 4. I'm hoping for an announcement for North America soon, or when it comes out in the States. And I'm going to look forward to that. I'm not even going to think about Sword and Shield. I'm looking forward to that, and the game Town, whatever it's going to be called, by Game Freak. Again, it's a Game Freak game, and it has more visual pizzazz than their mainline core franchise Pokemon. It's pretty sad. And there's really no defense for that stuff. I guess I got to pay the bills. Jamie Butterworth dropped a $5 on me. Thank you, Jamie. That's not Jamie. Who was that? Let me back this up. It looked like his picture there for a minute. Sorry, it's Keys. How do you say your name? Keys. T. He says, you can't port no SNES game to Game Boy. Huh? It's cool to ignore me, but Nintendo then already sealed their fate. I don't know what you mean by that. But that was, that's the info that I got. This video was showing was that they were trying to port, or the idea, once they saw whoever this designer was working on a Zelda game, they were like, we can actually put a Zelda game on Game Boy. And once they saw that, their next idea was to port the new Zelda game, which at the time, which was A Link to the Past. And of course you could do it because they ported all the Donkey Kong games, to the Game Boy. Obviously they weren't visually on par at all, but they still ported those games, so you could do it. But thanks for the donation there. Where was I? Yeah, so the excuses are ridiculous. I saw somebody say you're entitled. You're entitled to want. I saw a tweet. I'm gonna actually do a video, standalone video on this. But I saw a tweet where a guy was like, "You're entitled because you want to play with your friends on a Mario game that's online that allows you to play with people online." What? What? And there was like over 1,000 likes and retweets, and I'm like, it's like an alternate universe I'm living in. How is that entitled? We've had online games since Dreamcast. How are you entitled to want to play with your friends online? We have a friends list. A friends list, it's called. Mr. You're entitled. And you can't even interact with your friends in any way from your Switch. That's being entitled? These are your friends. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. There's no excuse. You can not care. I mean, which is fine. I'm not saying you should care. If you don't, I'm not. I don't care that much myself personally about playing Mario games, especially Mario Maker 2, online with friends or anything like that. Like, I don't care personally that much. But if you're gonna allow the option, why block people from playing with their friends a game that's built around sharing? And it's just, I don't get it. And then there's no excuse. um, if you believe that, then Nintendo should right now take away the ability to play Mario Kart and Smash and whatever else. Take that ability away from you to play with your friends online, if that's what you truly believe. And I don't think these people who say this stuff truly believes it. So it's pretty insane. And come on, come on. True. We need a new Paper Mario. Yes, we do. We definitely need a new Paper Mario. One that pretty much harkens back to the first one and Thousand Year Door, that era. I did like Color Splash a lot. It needed some things here and there. I think forcing you to use the color every time instead of having that queued up was a little tedious. But other than that, I really like that game. See, Blaze 2000. It's another crazy decision. This is what I like about your channel. You like Nintendo, but you will not defend every decision they make. No, I don't know why you would. Just because you like something, you don't have to defend everything they do. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a Giants fan. I'm from New York. But if they do stupid things, what I feel is stupid, like make stupid picks, and if they've done some of that, that could be a whole nother. Maybe I should start a sports podcast or something. But they've done some stupid moves. I'm not just sitting back well, I'm not going to be entitled to wanting them to draft this guy or no. I'm spending my money. I go to games, or I'm spending my time watching you on TV. I'm supporting you. I'm buying your uniforms. I'm paying, a lot of money for this stuff. And I don't think you're entitled to want your stuff to be good. I don't think that's an entitled. You buy something, you want it to work, you want it to be good, you want it to be the best it can be. I don't think that makes you entitled. Now, if you're trying to tell the game designers how to design the gameplay or something like that in their game, that's bananas. But in 2019, not being able to play with your friends on a game that allows you to play with people online is just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm not going to defend stupid practices from anybody, especially from the company that I paid the most attention to, I probably spend the most money on. I'm not going to sit back and be like, oh yeah, that's great because I love Nintendo. No, I'm not going to do that. Nobody should do that. Speak your mind, tell the truth. Don't front for your audience, because people want everything. They want everything to be kumbaya, and that would be great if it was. It would be great if everything worked out great, but it doesn't. So you got to speak out on stuff that's not good. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. The last season was atrocious. I'm not gonna act like, oh, I thought it was good because I'm a fan. No, I'm not gonna do that. It sucked. It didn't live up to my expectations. And when you put a game like Mario Maker 2 out there with this feature, and you don't add friends, that's not living up to my expectations. Because this game is all about friends, you would think. I want my friends to play my my levels and stuff when I'm done. So why? I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer to not add these things. So hold on a second, guys. All right. Okay. Uh-oh. What happened? This is weird. I need a sip. All right. All right, can you guys hear me? I think I might have pulled the mic out by accident. No, I'm not answering the door. It was there was some loud boom outside, so wanted to make sure it wasn't gunfire. I don't know if you guys heard that on the mic or not, but whoops, let me fix this. All right. What's going on there? Okay. All right, so yeah, my GameCube up there. I just did a video on that, so that's why it's sitting there. You'll see that in the next couple days or so. Excuse me. All right, so what was I talking about? Yeah, so I'm not gonna make excuses for stuff just because I like it. I mean, that's not helping the situation at all. And you can not care, like I said, but don't like try to shout other people down for wanting something very simple. It's not like we're not asking them to completely change the game. We're asking them to do what they've done with other games that they put out. Is that crazy? Is that too much to ask? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. See, here's the thing. I wanted to point this out because I let maybe I'm part of the problem because I did let certain things slide like this on the Wii U, but that was because the Wii U wasn't selling for crap. So it was, first of all, it was hard for me to demand for things because they had a system that was, just wasn't selling. And for me to say, well, you guys need to do this, implement that, it just didn't feel, right. Because it's like, well, they can barely sell their console and I'm asking for something extra. I mean, they're already giving us free online. It's not the greatest online, but it is free. So I had no complaints about that. And so for me to look at these little things, little features here and there and say, you guys need to fix these and do that, to me, it just, with the way the Wii U was selling, it just didn't seem sensible for me to do that. So maybe I'm at fault for that, for not demanding more on Wii U. But again, there was other things with Wii U. It was their first HD console. So they were having development issues and all that stuff. So again, I was just hoping for good games, and I got a lot of good games. And I said, all right, if your next system comes out and it sells, these problems need to be gone. Or these problems need to be gone so your next system will sell. So a lot of these problems aren't fixed with Switch, but it's selling really well. So that's why I'm probably more demanding, because it's like, all right, you guys have no excuses. The same way third party has no excuse, Nintendo, you have no excuse to fix these things and make these things better on this console that's selling phenomenally. And it just feels, at this point, when I looked at the Wii U and I look at this now it just feels like laziness, because they have all the sales, they have, the revenue, they have nothing to worry about at this point. Switch is a success, and it's going to continue to be one. And these little things are just knocks in its armor for me, for a system that could be just the best Nintendo console ever. They can't seem to get these things consistently right, and I just don't understand why at this point. And maybe it has to do with the fact that they didn't care about online on GameCube at all, pretty much. They punted to another company on Wii and DS for online when it came to. Um, hold on, guys. All right, back again. All right, what's going on here? Is it that far behind, or is it paused? What is going on? I guess it's just that far behind. Whoa. All right. Yeah. Sorry again, guys. I keep hearing these noises. My wife is kind of freaking a little bit. I don't think they're. I think it's because we just had a late storm. I think it's just like lightning, rumbling, and whatnot. So, let me get a sip here. All right. See what you guys are talking about. Okay, so let me scroll back a little bit here. Answering the door. Answering the door again. Screwface, what's up, man? Screwface is in the house. T, why do you think the N fails so bad with the online? Is the Japan side that don't know what we like here? I don't know, but they are absolutely failed with their online service, I think, with all its faults. I don't know if it's Japan because maybe it is. I don't know. That's what a lot of people speculate it's Nintendo of Japan. That's just doesn't seem to care. But they live in a society where it's all about online and being connected to others. And so I don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know what it is. I just, at this point, I just can't figure it out. They have to see where the industry with the cloud and everybody's going to streaming and all this stuff is the future. It's very important. And they, at this point, to still be so lacking, so unwilling to push boundaries. And it's a company that gameplay wise is known for pushing boundaries, hardware wise is known for being out of the box and pushing boundaries. So what is it about online that they're just so stuck on? I have no idea. I wish I could tell you, Screw, man. I have no idea. Turning to Juice, how do you feel when people like you or people you like try and defend shit like this? I feel broken. It breaks me because it's like I know you, or I felt like I know you better than this, and you know better than what you're saying, and I just don't believe you when you defend stuff like this. I feel like you're just defending for the sake of defending. Like you can't honestly sit there and say, not being able to play a game online that's online, not be able to play a game like that, be able to message your friends and say, hey, I'm playing this game, you want to join? Something that video games have done for decades. At this point, I don't believe you. It's hard for me to believe you. Now, I can believe you when you say you don't care, because for a long time, a lot of things I didn't care much about when it came to like online gaming. There's still a ton of stuff that I don't care that much about when it comes to online gaming. So I can believe that you don't care. But when you try to knock down people who do care, or you try to defend, it just, come on. I don't believe you. It doesn't make any sense for a multi-billion-dollar company who's all about gaming. Their only thing is video gaming. And what we know about gaming with the streaming and people doing live streams and gaming online, it's all about the interconnectivity and having your community and your friends and interacting. It's all about that. You're going to tell me that it's okay for one of the huge companies that do gaming to not do anything with it? You're going to tell me that's fine? You're being entitled for wanting them to do what is just normal at this point? It's natural, at this point. This company is still playing, the standard definition game when everybody else has an HD TV. Like, that's basically what's going on here. What if the Switch came out and it had composite cables instead of a HDMI? It had composite cables coming out the back of it. Would that be okay? Would you be cool with that? No, because that's old. That's no longer standard. These are things that are standard now at this point. Maybe not as much last gen because we were still kind of filling each other out. They're filling this whole thing out, but we know where the industry is going. Come on. There's no excuse. No excuse for this. For Nintendo especially to be doing this. It just baffles my mind. I don't know why. Real gamer. People live in a fantasy world thinking that their gaming companies is their god. So apparently they can do no wrong. Yeah. I mean, what else is it? What else? I have no idea what else it could be. Why people do this stuff. Screwface, it was supposed to be robust. Yeah, these are from their own mouth. Like, it was supposed to be in a robust online. So I had no worries going into it. I had almost no worries. There was talk of, not achievements, but I forgot what they were calling it. That kind of system, which I don't care about achievements and none of that stuff. But again, there was talk of them modernizing their online infrastructure beforehand. And here we are, it's kind of jacked up. Switch is in its third year and people are still saying be patient. Yeah. It's in the third year. By the time this year is over, by March of 2020, it'll be 3 years, which will be more than halfway through its life cycle. Be patient for what? It's going to be over by the time, this stuff that we're supposed to be patient for would even begin to start. We waited, a year and a half in the beginning for their online infrastructure to be set up. And this is what we got, so the time for patience is over. Again, maybe I was part of the problem, but again, I was more patient on Wii U because the fact that Wii U sold shit, it didn't sell. But that's not the problem with the Switch. There's no excuse with the Switch. There are no excuses as far as the sales go. It's hitting all those cylinders. So it's firing on all cylinders. So this stuff should be no brainer. I mean, the 3DS is doing this stuff. I mean, their own system. It'd be one thing if it wasn't them and we just completely, but it's still not excusable. They should hire somebody if they can't do it themselves. Obviously, there's some downsides to that because look what happened with the Wii and 3DS. The services got shut down. I don't know if it's prematurely, but those services got shut down. So there's always that problem that you have to deal with a third party to handle that stuff. But you have to offer your customers better. You have to offer them and somewhere in the ballpark of what the competitors are doing. Because if you're not, you just look like you're behind. You're out of touch. So I don't want to harp on that too much because, like I said, people get really butthurt about it. I don't understand, but they do. So I'll just move on from that from here. The Switch is oh yeah, I said that already. Instinct Labs. Yeah, it's so frustrating for multi-plat games. I love Paladins, but Switch still has no voice chat. So it's like I just played on my Xbox. I mean, facts. I mean, what can you say to that? Only 2% of nerds that own the Switch want those things. I know 5 people work. 5 people at my work that own Switches. They have no interest in those things. Okay, so that's a good sample size for everybody who owns a Switch. I would say no, because there's a lot more people. There's a lot more people out there than the 5 people that have no problem with it, saying they do have a problem with it. So I don't know. Right Chance, hey there, fools. What's up? Screwface, is way more, 2%. Oh, you guys are going back and forth. Bare bones things that should have been there already. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, there's no excuse. There's no excuses for it. Mario Kart Wii was the first game I played online. Wow. I personally don't care about online gaming, which is fine. Local multiplayer all the way. Again, that's fine. I cared more about local multiplayer for the longest time. I don't really care. I'm not crazy about online even now. It's just that it's not about what I care about. It's about what should be, which makes sense for your company to be doing, regardless if I care about it or not. Because people shouldn't have to complain about this stuff. That's the thing. This should not be a complaint on the Switch. Plain and simple. If you don't want to hear this stuff, tell your company to make these things that are pretty normal everywhere else normal on their console as well. Yeah, if you don't like them, if you don't care about using online, then you don't have to. That's the thing. But if you do care about online, what are you supposed to do? Do we not matter? Do people? Again, not me on everything, but some things. But for those who care about it, do they just not matter? What they care about? Is that fair? I don't think that's fair. He literally lost some YouTube friends because they took console wars so far. Yeah, real gamer, I feel you, man. I wouldn't say I lost friends. Maybe I did. Probably do more during the Wii U than now, but definitely lost subscribers because I speak my mind, which I've always done. It's just that now my focus is more on Nintendo on some things because they're doing so well. They should be doing so well, and that's my problem. Do you think the successor to Switch will have good online like X? I don't know. I really don't know. I would like to say yes and be confident about it. I felt pretty confident going into Switch that the online, not that it would be on par with everything else, but it would be decent enough. Coming off of what Wii U had. How do you go backwards from Wii U? Like, I don't understand that. How do you go backwards from Wii U? If Wii U was so terrible, like a lot of people complain about the Wii U's online, and in some cases rightfully so. Again, it was free, but how do you go backwards from that? How do you go backwards from the 3DS on your next new fandangled console? Is there an excuse for that? I don't think so. They should have just brought over the Wii U online and made it better and adapted it for Switch. Problem solved. Yes, Screwface. Exactly right. You take your steps and you start there and you go on. But it seems like every generation Nintendo starts all over again. Every time. and that's fine for certain things, but not for your store, your digital store, not for stuff that people acquired on previous consoles they like to bring over, and not for voice chats and all this stuff that you were seeming to start to get right. It wasn't quite there, obviously. People still had complaints, but it seemed like it was a step in the right direction, and you took 3 steps back. And just because it's selling, everybody wants you to shut up, don't complain. No, I'm not about that. Right, that's the right chance. The T is right. The Switch should be awesome for multiplayer and should have virtual console for all systems. Yeah, I mean that's just a no-brainer. I'm not overly again. I don't need virtual console because I have all this stuff already that I can play. And sometimes I prefer to play it on its original hardware, and I'm kind of a purist for that kind of stuff. But so I don't care as much for virtual console. But why isn't it there? Like, you've had it, you started it, and you made this big push on Wii. That was a huge applause line. And remember when Wii was first announced, and they talked about being able to play all these legacy games on your Wii, and that was a huge applause line, one of the biggest applause lines for that console. So everybody was so on board with that. Why take that away? Like, why take it away? You were making money with it. There was no problems there. Why take it away? Why offer us this poor NES trickled out? It just, really? You're better than this. I know you to be better than this. And I expect you to be better than this. And that's why I would complain instead of just sit back saying nothing or kumbaya, everything is great. Everything is awesome. No, it's not. It should be. Again, the Switch should be your best console of all time. Should be a no-brainer, hands down, your best console. With the way it's selling, with its variety, with its hardware setup. But you're shooting yourself in the foot, and I don't know why. I just don't know why. I have no answers for why. So. All right, so let's move on. What was my next topic? We just went over Mario Maker big time. All right, this is a good one. The 7th gen. I think that's right? The 7th gen, that's 360, PS3, Wii. 7th gen is coming back again in the form of remasters. And there is a lot. There seems to be a lot of them, and they're coming fast and furious. A lot of them have already showed up. A lot of them been kind of sneaked out there. I go to GameStop. I'm like, oh, they brought that over from 360, or they brought that over from PS3 to Xbox One and PS4 now. I had no idea a lot of this stuff is happening, and every month it seems like we're getting a announcement for a remaster, and ultimately at the end of the day I don't have the biggest problem with that because we are still getting a lot of cool new games, so as long as that's happening I'm trying to bring the chat back up. I don't have the biggest problem with that, but it does take away identity to some degree of the 7th gen to me, and that's part of the issue I have. Not really, it's not a big issue that I have with Wii U to Switch. It takes something away from that journey you went through before, and it's taken some of its identity and saying here now. It's one thing when you really remaster something, you add something really good to it. You put all the DLC together, or you add a new thing, that's not a problem because, we got GameCube to Wii, not remasters really, but what did he call them? Wii Play or Wii, or what was it called? It wasn't Wii Play. That was that terrible multi-party game. Wii Motion. You got those new features and stuff. So like you got that in the Metroid Prime series. There was like a Pikmin 1 and 2 that got Wii stuff into it. That stuff is cool because it's like, oh, I'm playing this. It's an old game, but I'm playing it in a completely new way. It feels really new. They're adding something new to it. But when you just take a game and drop it, and remaster it and make it look better, because sometimes it doesn't even look better. It looks worse in some cases. Like I remember Batman, the Arkham, whatever that was called, the remaster of that. There were times where it looked better at times, but there's times it would look worse than the original. Because you start tweaking with the lighting and all that stuff, and those older engines, and it just doesn't look right. So it's just weird to have, because those games aren't that old. It's one thing when you go back to 6th gen and update that stuff. Like you'll never hear me say anything about that, because you got Time Splitters and stuff. THQ Nordic is going to be most likely dropping remasters of those games, which I thought were awesome. I don't know if there's going to be online multiplayer for those games, which that's a cool thing they could add that would make it more justifiable. But just bringing that game into HD and upping the controls, and I just think about being able to use a motion controls for a shooter game from that era is pretty cool. So that will feel like a new game. It won't. I mean, it's not a new game, but for me, that kind of stuff is more justifiable than something that just came out on your last console. It just feels more justifiable to me. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. We are still getting a lot of cool new stuff, which is I'm down for, obviously. But when you have this stuff sometimes happen, and people make excuses about this too, when you bring over a game and it's successful, that's going to slow down the sequel. It just is. It just makes sense. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe slows down the sequel. Now, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to me is in that kind of gray area because it did bring something new. It brought a true online battle mode, which is the only reason I bought it. If it wasn't for that, I would have never bought it. But because it had that new thing that we all wanted on the Wii U, I bought the deluxe version. So to me, that's more justifiable. It's not the greatest. You could still just say that's my excuse for buying it, but I feel like that made it, because that's basically what I've done with it. I haven't really played the tracks. Most of my 35 hours or something into it, not a whole lot, is all online. I probably spent maybe 5 hours running through the tracks and stuff again just to unlock some stuff. But other than that, yeah. So, but it is strange. It seems like the 7th gen is kind of getting a do-over, which I understand because it's probably the easiest to quote-unquote remaster because it is the modern era. It was just the start of the modern era of 3D gaming, because even like PS2, GameCube, original Xbox, that era wasn't quite 3D modern. It was still kind of an evolution of 6th gen 3D. So if you know, kind of feel me where I'm going with that. But I feel like the 3D era broke out and became solidified during the 7th gen. So because games were like bigger, you get stuff like Skyrim and all that stuff, especially towards the end of that generation. Games that were wildly different than anything you would see on GameCube as far as visually and size wise. So yeah, so like I said, I understand why. Compatibility, nostalgia, obviously. And for Switch, I mean, it is cool to be able to play a game like a Skyrim in your hands, in the palm of your hands. There is something cool about that. I barely played it. I probably played it maybe 5 hours. I bought, oh my goodness, Xenoblade. I bought the original Xenoblade for my new 3DS because I'm like, how do they put a game like that on a handheld and make it work? And obviously there's some, just like with the Wii U, look at me, just like with the Switch, there's some visual downgrading, but it's still fantastic and amazing and crazy to me to see huge games like that on a small little system that you can walk around with and leave the house with. I mean, that's just crazy to me. I just, that's one thing I feel like the Wii U doesn't, or Wii U again, the Switch isn't quite getting enough credit for. Like, I know a lot of people like, oh, the portable stuff, but I don't think, because of the technology we have, people just kind of take it for granted, And to me, that's just insane. If you would have told me when I was, 12 or 12 to 15, somewhere in there, that Super Nintendo games, all the Super Nintendo games you like, put them in a little portable system and you can play them anywhere, that would have completely blew my mind. Even if they don't look as good, they would still blow my mind, and I would appreciate it that more than I feel like gamers today don't appreciate it as much because of, again, the way technology moves today. So yeah. So let me see what you guys are saying down here. Because we're backing up a little bit. Online focus games and console wars are crazy. I have no time for fanboyism, says Blaze 2000. Good for you. We should definitely have virtual console. Yes, Metalhead Gamer. We should definitely have virtual console. As an option at least. I don't understand why we don't. Take away something that was good. Scarf Tail, the argument is that you aren't owed anything. I guess that's what you're trying to say, because you don't have to buy the product. You're wrong to criticize. I've seen this argument many times and always write it off as hurt feelings. But you do have expectations. Like, if your previous console did A, B, and C, you expect the next console to do A, B, and C. I don't think that's in any way, shape, or form entitlement. Well, so again, if you bought an HD TV and it only played standard def movies and shows, you'd be cool with that? Because that's basically the same thing. So again, I think the hurt feelings are coming from people who don't want to hear people complaining about this stuff. So that's what I would think. Because my feelings aren't hurt. I'm just disappointed because I know they can do better. And I feel they definitely can do better. They have no excuse to not do better. Again, if you can tell me why we go backwards from Wii U as far as these features go, then I'll go with your argument. But if you can't give me a succinct reason for why that's the case, then c'est la vie. I don't know what to say. The reason of the existence of remasters is because of the lack of backwards compatibility. Yes, that is definitely a reason for it. But is that a product of it? Did they all get together and decide, hey, we didn't make as much money during that generation as we like. We lost a lot of companies. The prices for creating games are exorbitant, so we didn't make the profits that we were used to making 6th gen and before. So how about we kind of redo our consoles to where they can't play all those old games and get these people to buy those games again? I don't think that was the case, but is that some of the reasoning for it? Now, obviously, PS3 was very different architecture, so I understand it, but it's their own fault for making that architecture on their console, and it definitely hurt them in some ways. But Xbox, obviously they're showing that they can do it. They could have made the console backwards compatible. I mean, even 360 was funny with backwards compatibility. It only covered a certain amount of games. It was kind of weird. But it was there. You could do something at least. And this is like for Xbox One in anyway. It's like, you know, kind of 360, but more later in the life cycle. So I think 360 you can do it pretty much day one, but you had to like download this patch or whatever to make them work, and it wasn't for every game. But now, you know, with their backwards compatibility stuff they're doing on Xbox One, it's just like, oh yeah, we could do that. Let's open this up and do it this way. So I mean, at least they're doing it. But now obviously with Wii U to Switch, you have a completely different or cartridge medium. You're going from discs to cartridges, so you can't port or you can't, you know, play discs on a Switch. It just doesn't work that way. Now, could they have come out with a device that attaches to your USB? Sure, but that stuff never really does well. But it's an option. They had, you know, Game Boy player, a Wii U player for your Switch, at least when you're at home. That would have been cool, but who knows what that would add to the cost of it, you know, as far as the Wii U chipset. I don't know. I mean, I think they're similar in a lot of ways, so it wouldn't have been crazy. But, you know, manufacturing a disk drive for the Wii U to, you know, to attach to your Switch, the logistics of that aren't the best. And again, the Wii U didn't sell well, so they maybe just felt, you know, well, no, that's not really, because at this case, they know that people wanted those games. A lot of people didn't want the Wii U. So, Nintendo's definitely being opportunist in some of this stuff because of the pricing. That's my biggest issue with the Wii U to Switch is the pricing on some of this stuff. On games that sold millions of copies already, you're still charging full price. Some cases more than what you charge on Wii U, and there's no excuse. Again, no excuse for that. But it is what it is. It helps preserve those games. Yes, it does. That's a good thing about it. That is a good thing for sure about it, is that it keeps those games preserved. But you can still do that with the virtual console or used game market. And all these companies have a store where you can buy old games. So, but obviously that's a digital thing. So there's that. A lot of these games are just as good as current gen games. Very true, and should be accessible without having to buy a discounted box. No, I'm not saying I don't understand the appeal. I buy it. I mean, I totally understand the appeal. And as long as they're priced accordingly, which a lot of them are. Somebody needs to talk to Square Enix and Capcom about their pricing, especially on the Nintendo Switch when they bring back this stuff. But for the most part, it's priced relatively well and accordingly. You know, $20, $30, something like that, $40. But yeah, I get the appeal. I buy these games too. I have remasters and stuff like that. So I know why they exist, but and at this point, you know, it's not really hurting new games for the most part. Some cases it does, but for the most part, it's not. All right, so remasters, do not mind them as long as they are good remasters. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, microtransactions, and content missing. Yep. Geek T, what it do, brother? What's up, Geek? Time Splitters, hopefully it is successful. We will see a new Time Splitters. Right, that's another thing. It works well for stuff like that because THQ was a company that went under, and Nordic purchased them and became THQ Nordic, and so they're bringing back Time Splitters to see, you know, if this is what people want. So if it does well, that will most likely, if it does really well, especially, that will most likely lead to a new Time Splitter game, which a lot of people want. I would love that. So there's that. So there is good. I'm not saying it's all bad. I mentioned that right away, that there's some good about it, some bad about it. So if I couldn't do that, I wouldn't buy them again. To be fair, the fact that I can play these Wii U games on the go justifies the purchase for me. Again, that's cool. I mean, I have no problem with that, because I hear people say that all the time. Especially if you didn't own a Wii U, you know, and you don't want to go buy one and, I think that's still a better route because a lot of these games are better on the Wii U because of how it's set up. But if you're not into doing that, you don't care about, if you don't care about like uh, retro gaming and going back and having consoles all over the place like I do, then that's an option. You don't care. That's good. I don't have a problem with that. But Nintendo should be giving you a better price for that stuff. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. Metalhead Gamer. If I could, you said that. Blaze 2000 Red Faction is a PS2 game from 2001, so I'm okay with that. Again, yeah, Red Faction is a game that could really benefit pretty well from a remaster because of the destructible, physics and all that stuff. So, I think it might be cool. Oh, the ones who are calling people entitled are the ones with hurt feelings, says Scarf Tail. Yeah, I would agree with that. I just entitled. I hate to keep going back to this, but entitled for wanting to be able to play a game that is online, that's about community, that's about community building. To want to play that game online with your friends, when that company who just put that game out has previous games that allow you to play online with your friends. So why are we going backwards with this game? There should be no complaints about Mario Maker 2. Not one complaint with Mario Maker 2. Everything should be good because all these cool new features, and they shoot themselves in the foot and have this bad, reaction because of this one thing that they just cannot seem to consistently get right. I want everything to be kumbaya and great around Mario Maker 2. I'm excited about the game. I'm still buying the game because, like I said, I didn't buy Mario Maker 1 for multiplayer. I do like the community stuff, the being able to share levels and all that stuff. But if you're gonna add that in, why not add the ability to play with your friends? I would care more about playing with my friends in a game like that than randoms. You're allowing me to play with randoms, but not my friends in a Mario game. I mean, am I in another ulterior universe? What's going on? Why is that crazy? I don't get it. Let's see, where am I? It's always about the money when they took backwards compatibility away from these consoles. Yeah, I mean, it's about the money as far as them wanting to make more money on games that they sold already, but it's also about the money because of implementing hardware or putting hardware from previous systems into your new system and raising the cost of it. So it's like that. The only way that it worked out well was with Wii, GameCube to Wii, because there wasn't a whole huge leap from GameCube to Wii. So hardware of adding in the GameCube stuff didn't cost them much. They still were able to put that console at $250 at launch, and it sold $250 all the way up until the end, pretty much. I think they dropped the price maybe, but that was a great price, and they had backwards compatibility, so that was a great thing. I'm glad Sony is going back to backwards compatibility, says Real Gamer. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think a lot of people would have rioted if the PlayStation 4 didn't, or PlayStation 5 didn't play PS4 games, because they're kind of the pioneers of it as far as backwards compatibility goes. PlayStation 2, they were pretty much the first people to do it. I mean, you had hardware attachments. This what's the Sega Master System to the Sega Genesis. You had this I forgot what it's called, but you plug it in like a Game Boy, Super Game Boy, plug it in the top, and you can play Sega Master System games into your Genesis. So I guess you can give them the credit for it first. There might have been something before that. Maybe I think there was an attachment for like the Atari but that was two different companies, so not the same thing. But yeah, backwards compatibility. That's the thing. That's one of the things that actually hurt Atari back in the day when they made the 5200. It wasn't backwards compatible with the 2600, which was stupid. 2600 was insanely popular, and then you make this new console that doesn't play. I can't bring all my games over, and this was the infancy of gaming. So people just didn't understand that. It made no sense to them. What? I have all these tapes here because I would call them back in the day tapes. I have all these tapes here from my other console that has your name on it. Your new console that has your name on it won't be able to play those. That makes no sense to me. So that made no sense to people, especially in those days, that stuff wasn't backwards compatible. So it's like buying a VCR player and learning that these VCRs don't play in your player. All those tapes you bought before won't play in your new VCR. Like that just didn't make sense to a lot of people, and I get it. So that's why I can't fault THQ Nordic. No, I don't fault THQ Nordic. They bought all this stuff. They buying all these IPs. They're not a huge company. THQ Nordic isn't, and they're like, well, we own all this stuff. We just acquired THQ, and we own all this stuff. Let's make money off of these games that people bought and loved, and let's remaster these. That is a safe bet. That's a safe way, especially for a new company. It's a safe way for them to ingratiate themselves with the industry, to learn the industry, to learn development and how that works. That's smart. To me, for them especially, that's a smart thing to do. Sega fanboys think alike. Yeah, Sega fanboys. Sega fanboys. Me and Real Gamer. Power base system. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Thank you, fellow Sega fanboy. Yeah, the power base. Cool. A very cool idea. Like, I didn't own a Sega Master System. My uncle did, and so when he got a Genesis, he did buy a power base, and that was great for him because he had that again. He had that old mentality, that gaming infancy mentality of, why can't I play my tapes? Why can't I bring my tapes to my new system? And so that was a great thing for him and people like him. So that's pretty much when it started. Atari 7800 was backwards compatible with the 26. Yes, yeah, that's correct. I was going to mention that, but I forgot. 7800 was backwards compatible, but the problem is 7800 sold like shit. Like nobody cared. Nobody cared by the time we got to the 7800. Unfortunately, it was, the writing was on the wall for Atari by that time. They botched this 5200. The 5200 was a disaster. Like people talk about, Saturn and Dreamcast. I don't think they talk about Dreamcast in that light. I think they think of Saturn mostly when it comes to like failed consoles, because Dreamcast wouldn't have failed had Sega not screwed up the Saturn. So Wii U, Virtual Boy, nobody mentions the 5200 in that light. I mean, that's because it's so old. But the Atari 5200 was a disaster for Atari, and it got to a point, because I got one when I was a kid, and it was $50, brand new in a box. A year and a half later is when I got one. My mom bought me one for my birthday, I think it was, and it was not. I think it launched at $200 or something, and it completely bombed. And that was also a disaster. I don't think people mention that as much because it's kind of forgotten, but it was terrible. Look up the Atari 5200. And what a disaster it was, because it was bad. And the way it was designed, like the power cord and the AV, it wasn't AV, it was RF back then. The power cord and the RF were together, so you would get like interference when you plugged in your system. You had to, because the RF went through the power cable. It was terrible system. And yeah, it pretty much was the beginning of the end for Atari. So Real Gamer, I had both the Master and the Genesis. I think that's what you're talking about. I finally got Power Stone 2. Oh, you got Power Stone 2? Did it cost you a pretty penny? I don't know how much it costs these days, so I don't know. I got a Saturn for $50 at Walmart in '97. Says Geek. Man. Yeah, 1997, 98, like, I wasn't a collector. I wasn't thinking collector back then. I was just buying my games and keeping them. But if you were a collector and you were in the mindset, you could have made, like, the best collection of all times at that time, because they were selling Saturn games for like $2 in the store in shrink wrap. I remember this, and I was like, I'm not buying that junk, because it was considered junk, So I missed out on a lot of that stuff, and I wish I hadn't now. But I was a Sega Saturn fan. I had the Sega Saturn back then, and I got disappointed by it because of how short its life cycle was and all the missteps Sega did before that. So, but yeah, like I'm talking like the games that now today go for $600, $700, $800 on Saturn, and there are a lot of games that do that. Panzer Dragoon Saga being one. I remember seeing them in the store for like $6, $10. It just breaks my heart to think about that now, how I just screwed that up. But I wasn't thinking on that level back then. I was just like, I want to buy new games. I want to buy games and stuff that come out. So, and then I was moving on to the next thing, like everybody else was. I kept my old stuff, but I wasn't like, oh, I got to go out and buy all this stuff and keep it. My mind wasn't there until probably mid 2000s is when I started like looking for stuff that I, used to have, because I sold a lot of stuff. I traded stuff. I have 7 brothers, younger brothers and sisters, so I would give them stuff that I wish I hadn't, because they don't care about games the way I do, especially during the GameCube era. GameCube and a little bit of Wii, and a part, the tail end of N64, GameCube, mostly GameCube, that I just gave them a lot of stuff, and they didn't care about it. They didn't take care of it. None of them have any of the stuff I gave them, and it just breaks my heart. So I went back and bought a lot of stuff that I gave away or I traded, that kind of stuff, around 2004, 2005, 2006, when I was in college. That's when I started like really getting more active in my reacquiring stuff and that kind of thing. So the original Phantasy Star for the Master System is expensive. Yeah, I'm sure it is. $130 for Power Stone 2. Wow. Yeah, so you're gonna be spending some money unless you live in like, Real Gamer knows what I'm talking about. Some of you guys might too. Metal Jesus is a big like retro gaming collector channel. Metal Jesus Rocks is his channel, and he's mostly a PC guy, so he has all these big box PC games and stuff like that. But he has a ton of console stuff. I think he has like over 7,000 games in his collection and like 50 consoles, something obscene like that. But he lives in the right area. He lives in like the Seattle, Washington area, and if you think about it, Nintendo is headquartered in that area. Microsoft was. I don't know if they still are. They still are, right? They're still in that area. Obviously, Apple is there. And so a lot of this rare stuff just pops up in thrift stores or gaming shops or all the time for them. And it's way easier for them to collect this stuff, being where they live. And I mean, they do a little bit more, obviously, but a lot of that stuff is just floating around in their community, so they get all that stuff all the time. So, unless you're in that area, you can't get that kind of stuff for cheaper. A lot of times we gotta go to that eBay route, which, if it's on eBay, they're looking at other eBayers, and that price, that just drives the price up for that stuff. So insane. Where are we? At work, can't stay. May the force be with you. All right, Surreal Entertainment. GameStop has added 21 Nintendo Switch SKUs. Source: My Nintendo News. 21. So is that to throw people off? And there is something coming? Because that would be really interesting. So that's probably the case. Jaguar controller was one of the worst controllers. It's still one of the worst controllers. You know what? You're right. But it was comfortable. That was one thing about the Jaguar controller. It's comfortable to hold. I don't have mine on me. I have to go in the next room. But obviously it was stupid with the buttons, and you have to put that overlay on it to know what all those buttons did. for whatever reason, Atari loved to give you a phone for a controller where you have, 1 through 9 or 0 through 9 on the controller itself. And so there would be these overlays that would come with the game. So, and games that weren't really that complicated. So why would you have all these buttons to make it complicated? So you come with an overlay, you put that down and it snapped to your controller. And each one of those buttons, so it would be like a graph, not a graph, but a graphic to show you what each button does. It would be, cool idea. But again, games that came out on Jaguar weren't that complicated to need that many buttons, so it's just like overkill at that point. And yeah, Jaguar was way beyond their disaster. Do the math. It had that cool campaign and said, no, we're a 60-bit or 64-bit console. We're gonna skip the 32-bit generation. Yeah, no, not really. Maybe mathematically, we have two 32-bit processors that are trash when you put them together. So that's 64 bits. No, doesn't really work that way. It kind of does, but no. You should have went the 32-bit route and made a CD console, and maybe you would have had a chance to come back with something. But Atari is not that forward-thinking. They weren't. They took somebody else's idea and ran with it, and they were way more successful. They took Ralph Baer, the godfather of video games, or the father of video games, Ralph Baer, who was instrumental in making the Odyssey, the first video game console. So Atari was just kind of sitting back like, oh, we can do that, and we can add on to it. So, but they weren't forward thinking enough to be able to compete when Nintendo popped up and Sega popped up. So there's that. Mizzah Tee, which is your favorite console add-on? Example: Sega CD, TurboGrafx CD, etc. Favorite add-on? It's a good question. It's probably the Sega CD. Because unlike 32X, I felt like that was more justified because it did actually bring something more. It brought, quote unquote full motion video. It wasn't full. This is a little square in the middle of a black screen. But it did bring that. And, I have a nostalgia for that era. That I have an affinity for that era of, people acting in these little movies as the characters in the game. That CD-ROM era, there's something cool about that, something really nostalgic and cool about that era that's very unique to that era. So I would probably say the Sega CD. I never really played TurboGrafx CD that much. I never had one. My friends had that kind of stuff. My uncle, he was a big gamer. He's pretty much one that got me into gaming. He had that kind of stuff, but I never had that. So, but I would probably say if it wasn't for the Sega CD, it would be, believe it or not, the 64DD, which is kind of weird to say because we never got that in North America. I have played it, but it's the Japanese version. I just remember, young me, reading magazine after magazine, anticipating that thing to come, how cool it would be to, make my own courses in F-Zero and do cool new boundary breaking things and Zelda with Euro Zelda and all the stuff that thing could have done. I just wish they would have put it out in America and Japan at the same time, because I think it would have done better in America than it did in Japan. But obviously it bombed in Japan, so we never got it in North America, which is sad. But that is, there was so much potential behind that thing that I wish it would have came out. It probably would have been my favorite add-on, but wasn't to be. I checked on Wikipedia. Only 50 games on Atari Jaguar. Yeah, there's not many. I was going to say there's probably more than the 32X, but I think the 32X has a little more. but I think it's in the 50s. So that thing was a complete waste of time. And I remember there were games on the 32X that you needed the Sega CD. It was Sega CD 32X games, which was, come on. So I got to have my 32X and my Sega CD all plugged in together. And they all had their own power sources. So they all had their own power cords, or not power cords, adapters, power adapters. And there was the big fat, remember back then. So you had to have like a big power strip that could hold 3 different power adapters. It was insane. And you put it all together, it looked like some kind of cybernetic Frankenstein monster. If you had a 32X and Sega CD all, hosted by the Genesis, it was kind of something out of a sci-fi movie. But yeah, that was 32X was a disaster, and it never justified itself. The games didn't look a whole lot better. It had more colors because if you remember, the Genesis didn't have this, what the Super Nintendo had as far as the color range and all that stuff. So all they were doing was upping that and trying to compete with something that people didn't really care as much about. And then when Donkey Kong Country came out, people were like, Nintendo's doing this on their base hardware, and you want me to buy a $150 add-on? It was $150 at the time. It could drop pretty quickly because Sega of Japan was like, didn't even tell Sega of America, yeah, we're working on the Saturn. Saturn's going to drop in 6 months after your was it 6 months, or I feel like it was even shorter than that. But after you guys put out this 32X, we're dropping the Saturn within a few months. And it was just like, come on. So there, that is that. Okay, so let me get out of here. Yeah, so full-time YouTuber. What does that mean? Obviously, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. People want more videos from me, which is hard to do with my schedule. And I talked about this before. Like, there's just the competitive nature in me would like to be able to do videos more and show that my quality and all that stuff could be way better than the bare bone channels that I see that just kind of read the news and stuff. That I could be more creative and give you a nice cool variety if I had the time, but I don't have the time to do that. And I would never be a full-time YouTuber because I just don't trust the nature of that setup enough to be able to put my finances into that. But I want to make a push. I do want to make my channel bigger. I mean, I don't know who on YouTube doesn't. I talked before about the algorithm. I have a YouTube algorithm, and how something happened about a year ago on YouTube that totally screwed everybody, especially smaller channels. Because my channel was growing pretty steadily. I think I have like 5,009 subscribers right now, but a year ago I was 5,150 almost. And something weird happened, and just I would see 25 subscribers gone in a day, and they come back and they'd be gone. So this wasn't a natural thing that was happening by people just watching. It had to do with YouTube, Google meddling with YouTube. So it just wasn't fair, because I was like, my videos would steadily hit 1,100 plus views at the time. I was getting, I had a video about a year ago that hit 100 and something thousand. I had videos that hit 30,000. So I was like, oh, now I'm hitting that bump, that stride. I'm starting to get a stride, and then bam, YouTube changes their policies. They cut. Oh, you got to have a certain amount of views, or you can't monetize. All this stuff. They came in and just implemented and just completely destroyed somebody like me who was on the come up, and it was disheartening. And at this point, I don't know what to do, because I see other YouTubers complain, like they show like graphs and like how their channel's doing and stuff like that, how it's fluctuating like crazy. Like I haven't had plus subscribers for about my plus to minus ratio in subscribers is probably negative in 6 months, and that seems wrong. You naturally, for a person putting up videos regularly, and I put them up pretty regularly, except for lately because I haven't had the motivation to do so because of the views. Like they just been weird. It's just been weird. Views and a couple months ago I had a video that hit 10,000 views or something. That was just a couple months ago, and then I start struggling to hit 400 views. It's just weird. I mean, I know certain videos hit and some don't, but there was nothing special about that video. I didn't go in and make what do you call it, tags, crazy tags or anything like that. The title wasn't that significant, so it's unnatural. I feel like there's unnatural meddling as opposed to like natural progression with YouTube channels and stuff. So that's why I started the Patreon to motivate. I don't need the money, but it was a motivation factor for, okay, if I'm going to spend time doing these videos and still doing them in a high quality way, that would motivate me to continue when views don't. And that really didn't work, for the most part. But I'm at a point where I'm like, all right, I'm a creative person. I'm going to continue to be a creative person. So I'm going to continue making videos. But it won't be with that oomph that I had before, that fire, that I had before. So, but I want it to be. I want to be able to compete because I see what I feel are way less quality channels hit. And I'm not just talking about me. I see dudes that have really high production value and, their thumbnails look real nice and their video quality looks good and their content is good, but they just don't hit for some reason. They're stuck in limbo, and that sucks to me. I don't like to see that. That's why I've been collaborating with people lately. You're gonna see more videos from that. That Game Collector, I collaborated with him before, and we're doing another video now on the Wii U. So that's the kind of stuff that's gonna keep me motivated as well. I'm going to start trying to live stream more, get on a schedule. I think I can, especially over the summer, get on a better schedule for live streaming and stuff, because I know people like to interact and talk and all that stuff, and go back and forth. So what happened to my chat? Oh, there it is. So I'm going to try to do that more. And if it starts to build up that way, because I think live streaming, podcasting, all that kind of stuff is the hot thing. Everybody has a podcast now. I know it was a big thing, but I'm gonna try to do that more. Even and not be demotivated by videos that don't do as well. Just kind of move on. All right, that didn't hit that well. Move on. I still have the idea for this. Try to keep my motivation to put this video out and just keep plugging away. And this also, like, if you guys care, you may not. I'm not asking you to care, but if you want to see that stuff happen more, me do more videos and more live streams and a lot of stuff. If you don't have to support Patreon, but what you can do, which is more important to me, is hit the like button, because apparently that is a way more important thing than it probably used to be with YouTube. So hit the like button, share the video to Twitter. If you like my videos, let people know, that you like them. And because that's what I care most about, interacting, growing the audience. That's the stuff that's going to keep me motivated to make videos. So if you want me to continue to do that, I need your help. I can't do it by myself. I can buy ad space, which is something I've thought about doing on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. So I probably will do that. See what kind of bump it gives me here and there. But yeah, ad space. That's something I'm going to be paying out of my pocket for. And that's something that Patreon could cover. So that's the thing. That's the way to support the channel. So instead of me having to pay out of my pocket for a channel that's pretty much struggling to grow anyway, that's something that would motivate. I could take that Patreon money and buy ad space, and that's what I would just do. It'd just be a circle. She's like, all right, Patreon came in today. All right, Google ad space or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. That's what I would do to try to help grow, because I think that's the best way to use something like a Patreon and not just pocket it, because you want to take that stuff and put it back into your channel. If people are doing that kind of stuff, if somebody's donating to your live stream or something like that, take that and flip it, put it into something that's going to help the channel grow or help the channel be better. Maybe you're buying a camera or something like that. I don't need any of that stuff. I have all the equipment because I'm a freelance videographer, so I already have that stuff. And I can, if I need that stuff, I would buy it for my work anyway, so it's my own expense. So that's the kind of stuff that would help me. You guys share my videos. If you're in some kind of Nintendo, what do you call it? A group or something, Facebook group or something like that, some gamer Facebook group, let people know that you watch my channel. Put link a video or 2 or 20. Let people know, because that's going to help me, motivate me, and that's going to help the channel grow, which is going to in turn motivate me. And it's the circle of life. It's a circle of life. So I'm going to try to live stream games as well. That's not something that I used to want to do, because video gaming is kind of a personal thing, especially for new games. I'm never going to live stream a game I just bought, because it's a personal journey when I play a video game. But I will live stream games that I bought or that I played a long time ago that I feel like playing again. So I just refinished Enslaved. Let me see. Pull these games up here. So I forgot why I had this out. I think it's the rag on Capcom, because there's 2 games on one cartridge right here. These are fairly sizable PC games. So yeah, Capcom can't do it, but this little Microids indie company can do it. Insane. I'm not sure where I have Rage. Oh yeah, I bought Rage recently, the first one, just to see if I would like to. I know they're somewhat different, but I just wanted to buy it, and this was like $5. So I should do that more. I should share my retro purchases. I don't do a lot of retro purchasing, but from time to time I do. Gears. I just felt like replaying Gears again, so that's a game I'm playing. So maybe I'll live stream that at some point. And Enslaved. Love this game. We talked about remasters and stuff like that. This is another game I wouldn't mind, remasters from 7th gen, that I wouldn't mind coming to Switch, especially because this is, a lot of times this really feels like a Nintendo game. It's Bandai Namco, Ninja Theory, the makers of what's the game? Sinuous Sacrifice. You know what I'm talking about. Who just got bought by Microsoft not too long ago. But this is a game that a lot of people don't even know about. This game is fantastic. One of the best final bosses I have ever played. But the gameplay throughout is just awesome, and there's a leveling system. It's really good, so it's got RPG-ish nature to it. I'm surprised that a lot more people don't talk about this. I don't think the game did well when it came out, but this is fantastic game. So if you're looking for something old that you missed to play, this is one of my highest picks. And Mario Maker, I don't know how I have this out, but oh yeah, I was playing somebody's. I'm gonna maybe do a video. I did a video, and then freaking video was corrupt. I couldn't use it. But I was playing somebody's level on Mario Maker, one of my subscribers. So maybe I'll do that when Mario Maker 2 comes out. Because Mario Maker 2, that's different, because it's not like, oh, you're playing through an adventure. I can see myself live streaming that, showing myself build levels, if that's not boring. I don't know. See, I always feel that stuff is boring, that a lot of people don't think is boring. So that's another thing. I just got to get more hip to that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, those are games I'm playing and stuff like that. So you're probably gonna see a lot of footage, because I captured a lot of footage of Enslaved while I was replaying it, and I just beat it again last night. And I'm playing Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider right now. Just started that. So summer is like me getting rid of that backlog, and maybe playing something I never played before or something like that. And some, what do you call it? Some retro gaming. I do a lot of retro gaming, especially in the summer months. So, all right, let's see what you guys got, and I'll get up out of here. About N64 should have been backwards compatible. N64, yeah, it probably should have been. I'm sure it wouldn't have been a big thing. I missed that from earlier. Right now I'm way too far back because I saw all these. What about? Oh, you asked me about Atari Jaguar. We went over that. I need Shin Megami Tensei 5 to wash the stank of Persona 5 Scramble out of my nose, says Maurice Charles. Oh, Maurice Charles, I haven't seen you in a while, man. Glad you're around, still watching. Maurice Charles is one of my earliest subscribers, so I remember you guys. You guys don't think I do. I know who's still watching based on their comments. Obviously, it's the only way I can tell, and who's not. But I remember you guys from way back. So, man, we got to start back the retro podcast. Yeah, man. I know you're a busy dude, and you got new addition to your family, real gamer, and your position at work changed, so you're taking on more responsibility. So that stuff is way more important than our podcast. But whenever you're available and you want to do it, I'm down, man. So we can definitely do it. Which is your favorite console? Oh, I did that already. So yeah, I just went back over some of the stuff I already did. My schedule is busy, especially I just said that. Your schedule is busy, so I understand. I don't fault you for that, man. Don't worry about it. Whenever you're ready, I'm good. Right after that Logan Paul stuff, I must have missed something there. Instinct Lab. So I'm kind of new to YouTube. I don't have a channel, but I edit for another channel. So I've had an invested interest in the algorithm. You should check out channel Brian G. Johnson. I will do that. I'm guessing that's going to help me with that kind of stuff because I have some knowledge of how it works, but I definitely got to get better at that. So that stuff falls on me because it sucks that stuff changed, but you gotta evolve. Right, Nintendo? Right, Game Freak? You got to evolve. And you can't just sit back mad. So, can you talk about thoughts between Persona 5 Royal, Scramble, and Shin Megami Tensei 5? I'm getting bored hearing you talk about views. Patreon will help eventually. I don't really know much about Persona 5. Shin Megami Tensei 5 I do, but there hasn't been a whole lot of information on it. I don't think it's going to come this year, but we'll see. Scramble, I'm somewhat interested in only because it's a Musu game, and I like Musu games. But I'm not a big Shin Megami or Persona 5 person, or Persona person. The whole channel is about growing. Oh, a YouTube channel. Okay, cool. Got you, Instinct Lab. So I'll check it out. Let me screen cap that so I don't forget the name. All right, got it. All right. Just keep it gaming. You're a gifted editor and showman. You should keep the fire. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like making my channel keeps me, because I had somebody go back and forth with me recently. Why do you still do it? Your views have fallen off. This is what somebody, a subscriber, was saying to me. It's like, why keep doing it? Well, it's a hobby. Gaming is a hobby. I love gaming, but also just editing like this, because I don't always get to edit creatively. A lot of my editing that I do freelance is just kind of bare bones, kind of boring procedural stuff. Whereas editing for my channel could be some more fun, more zippy, more pizzazzy, and it just keeps me on my toes as an editor. So I also do it for that. For gamers, it's very important. And the like button automatically assures your video. Yeah, so that's something you guys can do. If you watch my channel and you like the video, hit like. It's the first thing you do. I do that to myself on channels that I watch all the time. That's the first thing I do when I hit especially now. That's the first thing I do when I go to the video. Is hit skip ad. No, but I hit that like button right away. So everybody, I mean, it's not hard to do. Everybody can do that. That's the least you can do for somebody who makes a YouTube video and a channel that you like. That's the least you can do. Let's see, Nintendo Fight Clubbers back in 2013. Yeah, Siberia 1 and 2, good games. Yes, they are. I've already beaten them both. I just bought 3, which I haven't played yet. So I'm kind of, since I haven't played them in so long, I decided to go back through 1 and 2 again, just to get myself reacquainted with the world. So that's what I'm doing. Ninja Theory, Xbox games being available on PC made Xbox obsolete to me. I can understand that, but I like physical copies, so that's why I still hang around. It depends if you want a PC. PC is expensive to keep up with. It can be, yes. Yeah, but the games... Why would... you guys are going back and forth about PC. The Wonder Boy series is awesome, yes. What's the latest one? Was it the Dragon's Trap? Or is that the remake? Monster Boy. That's the new one. That's the one I haven't gotten yet. It's in my queue to buy, so I'm gonna get that. Persona. I love Persona 5. One of the best, greatest games ever. See, yeah, Real Gamer. I know you're like a more Persona person, so I haven't really played Persona very much at all. So I'm more of a Shin Megami person. The latest one I played was Shin Megami Tensei 4. So on 3DS. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Like I said, hit like if you like the video, if you like the channel, if you want to help it grow. That's the least you can do to help me out. Think about some of the other stuff I said. But yeah, so I want to keep doing these every Saturday. That's my plan, to do it every Saturday and be ready, set up, and better to go. And I want to set up my OBS, to have a nice pizzazzy, cool streamer kind of border and all that stuff that those guys do. So I'll work on that as well. That's stuff on my end. But on your end, as a fan of the channel, not a fan of me, but a fan of the channel, my content and whatnot, share the video, tweet about it. If you're in message boards, what is this, 1998? If you're in groups, gaming groups, Nintendo groups especially, stuff like that, let people know in the group, hey, this is a YouTube channel, I'll watch you guys, check it out. I do that because I want to support in every way I can channels that I like. So you guys can do that. Stuff like that. And in the comments, comment. Let me know. Because I know a lot of guys still watch my channel that used to from long ago, like Maurice Charles. But I don't know that you're still watching unless you're leaving a comment. And that's just for me. I don't know how comments work, if that actually helps you or not. But for me, for my motivational purposes, if I have a video that has 400 views, which is low for my subscriber count, but I have 50 comments, that's way more satisfying to me, because I feel like, people are commenting and they care about the video and they're interacting with me or other people in the comment section. That's for me, as far as I'm concerned, comments and stuff. I do care. A lot of people say, oh, drop a comment, like, subscribe. It's like a record playing every video. But I actually do care about people commenting, because I want to interact with people in the comment section, because those are the people who care enough to sit there and type something. They care enough to interact that way, and those are core fans of your channel. So I definitely want to interact with people like that. And obviously some people leave stank comments, just to mess with you and stuff. But yeah, that doesn't bother me. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining me. I know it was last minute impromptu. I appreciate everybody interacting, all that good stuff, joining the live stream here. Yeah, that's all I have. See if you guys have anything else. It was mostly Real Gamer at the end here. So what do you think of Final Fantasy today? I don't really care about Final Fantasy as much anymore. I don't know if it's just me moving on from the series or the series moving on from me. I don't know. I didn't really care for Final Fantasy 15. It just never did anything for me as far as how it looked and played and stuff. But honestly, outside of maybe Final Fantasy 10, the last one I was like really geeked for, hyped for that I played is Final Fantasy 9. So maybe it was just me transitioning and moving on to other things. Fire Emblem, it's a different type of series, but I'm not one of those people that play like 30 RPGs a year. I play 2, 3, maybe. And I don't know, just kind of fell off of Final Fantasy, stopped caring as much about them, and it made it a little bit easier once they weren't on my favorite console anymore. But no, that's not the reason. I still had the consoles that they were on. I don't know. I just kind of moved on. I don't know. Outgrew it, not mature reasons why. I just kind of outgrew the series. Yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of moved on. But again, thank you guys for watching and listening to the podcast. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep doing these every week. I know I've said that before, and I feel terrible about saying something that I don't feel like I can implement. But I do feel like this time I can get this going the way I want to. I have a very private area now, so it's a lot easier. I just took over a room in the house that was kind of sitting there. It's smaller than I would like, but it works better for doing this kind of stuff. So thank you guys again. I'll see you in the next video, which will probably be out on Monday. See, I'm even trying to schedule my videos out. But I think on the weekends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my T plays. They don't get a lot of views. I don't care. A lot of people, don't watch them. That's fine. Those are just kind of for me putting stuff out there. Once in a while, somebody will, I never played that game. I want to play it now. So that's kind of what those are for. I'm playing the game anyway, so why not, share some of it. So, yep, that's it, guys. Thanks again for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the interwebs and YouTubes. Peace.